Soul Blast 0, Soul Charge 2, like that Inherent Plus is actually pretty good, especially since we have 2 triggers that can just put themselves into Soul to give power.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Nightmare. Like,
but the notion though is that you're still going through a blind Soul Charge. As Genesis says, I will Soul Charge what I.
Oh, you killed my
do,
stuff.
yeah.
It's gonna go into my Soul, and then it's gonna make my Vanguard bigger. Or if they're playing the card that was given out as a pre-release for the extra boosters, retire if it hits. Really good effect. It turns your CEO into a combination of Glory Maelstrom and the Glory Maelstrom and Maelstrom Reverse, and you're just like freaking massive. Like, it's ridiculous.
Except with Maelstrom Reverse, he cannot hit and you retire one.
Right.
But
yeah. A lot of those decks actually use the Fighters Collection Break Ride though to make it so that they retire no matter what.
Oh yeah, I run that in my build right now. I'm just waiting for 16 to come out with Aquaforce.
I haven't played Aquaforce since set 8 when that deck was $250, and I sold it for $200 the moment I got it.
Ooh, both players having
Perfect Art warfare taking place here.
Yeah.
That no pass is so strong.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of people just
to rearguard Cider.
Yeah, because there was no pass. He would have needed 2 triggers, but that's kind of impossible at grade 1 without Cat Butler.
Yeah.
That's going to be a terrifying meta when it becomes a thing.
I don't think so. I think the fact that we're getting a little bit slightly higher power creep, Rises are actually going to be a somewhat fair matchup for a lot of decks.
Yeah, but for hitting for 20,
you just have to guard it early.
28.
For Risers, you really have to guard it early. You can't let them put you in a bad position before they even start restanding. Like, especially if they end up riding the their alternate 3, which essentially turns their Legion play into the cross break ride for Ethics Buster Reverse. You have 8 attacks, and you can restand 2 rear guards as long as they have back row for every Cat Butler you have. But another thing is the Legion mate for the main 3 auto stands the turn you Legion. So
the stall is real. I think he's great stuck.
Oh,
no,
man.
I don't think so. I think he has grade 2 in his hand.
I think he's just
he's just thinking.
Which 2 he wants in Soul when he goes to 3. I think that's the main thing.
So basically, one of those is going to get.
The one
he put in the Soul anyway.
The one he rode can put 3 Regalias from Drop Zone into Soul.
Convenience is a nutshell. Definitely.
And he was debating on writing something else.
Yeah.
To put more into
Robbie's keeping a lot of cards back in his hand though.
All the triggers just keep on hitting.
Yeah. So he has to just go after rear guards. But Robbie can just get more rear guards. Yep. Like I said, he has to outpace this deck. Like, he can't let them be on. It has to. Right now, he has to really push.
Well, considering the Genesis player is at 0 damage right now.
Yeah, like
1 damage now.
Yeah, so he's. Ooh.
Quintet Wall.
He's not gonna. He doesn't want that Judge Bow to go off. There's there's a Nyx. There's an Angelica. That's 2 3s out of his deck.
That's quite the misfortune.
Oh,
jeez.
So there's only
so that's only 15k.
That's only 15k, and that Abyss is swinging for 18. That's a 9k grade 2, so he's at 24. So that's 2 to pass. Robbie gets a heal. That sets this game a lot further in his favor.
And it looks like since Genesis player had to call the Cider, he didn't have it to put all the Quintet Wall into Soul.
Yeah. So.
Is he thinking or is he great?
He's
great stuff.
Yeah, like that Quint.
That Quintet Wall blew off 2 3s, and they actually managed to lose them before he could draw them.
Yeah.
It puts them extremely behind.
Is that grade 2? He has even a Regalia name?
Yes, it's Midday Regalia.
Okay. Yeah. So you probably might be able to get a 12k attacker or 2 to try and get some aggression out, but having a 9k Vanguard.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, wait. Is that a 3 in his hand? And he just doesn't want him to Legion?
I think what scares me right now is the fact that grade 1 is still alive.
Yeah, that Masquerade's gonna do work against a 9k, especially if it ever gets a trigger. Alright, so
that 10k does work.
2 to 2 now. It's 2 to 2.
Which really puts him quite in the pickle.
Yeah, Christian does.
He cannot let that go off.
No
triggers.
Ooh, that was a risky play, but
gambles do pay off.
Yeah.
Big drop zone right now for the Genesis player.
But he needs that.
Low hand.
I don't know. It looks like he has a triple rare in his hand. I don't know. No, it's just the way the cards are glaring on the camera.
Well, that's the Minerve.
Oh, that's a draw trigger.
But now this Judge Battle is probably.
I think he's denied himself a little too much advantage at this point, trying to prevent the Legion skill, because Robbie doesn't, especially Robbie's build, he really doesn't care. His deck doesn't hinge on Legioning. His deck hinges on aggression.
Right.
I'm putting you at 6 damage.
Right.
Period. And him not hitting triggers is not helping.
I'm surprised Robbie hasn't gotten a 12k attacker though. Like a 12k in front of that Masquerade grade 1 would have just set unblockable column right there.
Yeah.
For any trigger.
And
the Judge
Robbie's
Battle went
about
off.
to go plus right now.
And he's getting he's
2 sword breakers.
Yeah, we know. We saw.
We know. He doesn't
Yeah.
want Legion to go off, but that doesn't matter for Robbie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
Robbie's just gonna go off right now.
He's just
Yeah.
gonna just.
Well, he
swing
can't
as
go
much
off.
as he can.
Yeah, he can't go off nearly as hard, but he does get that 2 cards in hand, trying to make sure that he has more than enough for
And
anything.
hitting for the 6 damage right there.
Honestly, there's nothing that can be said. I can't really fault him because once again, Great Stuck ends us all.
Well, he had the 3 and was trying to deny the Legion. but
Yeah.
There was no
Doing
way
it
he
for
would
more
get
than a
there,
turn denies you so much advantage because you
Yeah.
really need those 2 cards, especially how he was guarding aggressively.
Yeah,
He
was
should have
jumping.
gone. He should have attempted to go 4 earlier if he was going to try and do that plan. That's
Definitely.
actually something I noticed. Play Riser 3 so that way you can't actually restand off of your Cat Butler because you get a crit for literally nothing. You need 4 Nova Grappler units, not rear guards. Units.
So your
2
Vanguard counts
Vanguards,
as 2.
your booster, and a single grade 2 gets you that extra crit. You don't get it on the restand if you only have those as your field. Usually you call down a trigger, like a draw something, just because it really doesn't matter. And then the Cat Butler just is -1 for another +2. So it's overall pretty good.
Cat Butler's just... One of my
That,
friends is actually proxying that deck, and it's just insane.
yeah, like the deck has a lot of tools. There's also a lot of janky builds. Like one of the builds that topped ran only 5 grade 3s.
His
3
build,
Street Bouncer, like stuff like that. It was pretty ridiculous.
yeah, his build right now is actually only running 4 Mega Flares.
Oh, geez. I don't know. I feel like Phoenix Wing is actually really good in certain matchups, and it should be probably played at 1 or 2 of. I've won like 3 games in some of the online tournaments that Jonathan Mindham runs through some of the Facebook groups for Hardfight Vanguard, just off of having like 6 attacks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because you stand anything with a back row unit. So you put a Cat Butler behind a rear guard, put a Cat Butler behind your Vanguard, and you have an infinite hell that costs you nothing.
Yeah.
You sack a 0. That's your cost.
That's all you gotta do is
All you have
retire
to do
the
is
Cat
have
Butler.
4 counterblasts to do it twice, which is really easy. It's really easy just to inherently keep cards back because you know if that's your game plan, you're gonna go for it. So yeah, so aggression looks like it's gonna definitely possibly win out today. Robbie's up a game.
Well, like I said, I'm going to give it a chance for sake of argument because Genesis does have the ability to come back, and it's kind of terrifying. Like I said, they just hit for such numbers, and once again,
But
whole
the
crit
problem
and no
is
perfect art. It
he's
just feels like
lacking
it's
that
lacking still.
consistency because he's, like we said earlier, he's playing 2 of every good to okay grade 3 for the deck.
So you think this might be a little bit closer had he have all
If
4?
he went something more akin to 4 CEO, 2 Angelica, and 2 Minerva,
Yeah,
I feel that this deck probably would do a lot better. If he ran 4/4 CEO and Angelica for the break right effect, I feel like that also would probably have put him overall in a better spot throughout each game.
Definitely.
Because usually what wins in Vanguard is consistency. That's what we see a lot of the times in Japan. It's a lot of times why Bartgol was the best deck because of that consistency boost. Even in a best of 1 format, you never had to worry about too many variants because you always have that 1 to 2 ride option whether you're stuck or not. So you can even just keep a card back in your hand. So yeah.
As we head into Post Mulligan, we see that both players have put 3 cards back in.
Yeah, both players have 2 cards in hand, currently shuffling. Christian's waiting for Robbie to cut his deck, it looks like. Yeah, because Robbie's shuffling his own deck right now.
Going through the processes, want to make sure.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to get grade lock, especially after a really long game with this deck. Since you draw so many cards, you search so much, you have to shuffle almost every 2 moves.
Definitely.
So yeah, Robbie has to shuffle a lot less than, say, I did throughout the entire tournament. Like, I pile shuffled 5, did a quick Hindu, pile shuffled 7 almost in between every single game because of how long some of my games went on, and I had like 12 cards left in deck. That damage zone, or the graveyard clumping, just like, I need to make sure I don't hit like all 0s, and I didn't get great stuck all day, so
definitely worth a positive note.
Yeah.
Looks like CEO.
CEO is probably choosing to go first again. Yeah. He's probably gonna.
Right,
I don't know. It looks like I think I can see a 3 in his hand. So yeah, it's a.
Definitely has a 3.
He has a Minerva, and I think that's kind of what killed him last game. Was his only grade 3 was Minerva. Minerva is very. Ooh,
he top deck that too.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's an Ordain Owl. Wow, he's.
Maybe he had a better ride, a more opportune ride showed up.
Maybe.
Oh, he just ripped the CEO, so we'll actually get to see him play CEO.
Yeah, but now that Owl is not going to be able to hit because that draw trigger Robbie got.
Yeah, so I'm surprised he would decide to go for the Ordain Owl. That's a really risky sort of type of aggression, like, because now it's just kind of sitting out there.
Yeah.
That Ordain Owl is actually a pretty powerful effect if he has to go Minerva early, but he won't have to. The wild card drew CEO, so it'll be interesting how he decides to go about this. It looks like he's thinking about denying his opponent Legion turn 1 and then just coming back turn 2 and Legioning himself with CEO.
Yeah, but his looks like he has a CEO in his hand.
Yeah, he ripped it on the last drive check. He started with Minerva in hand. Oh.
He's running.
Oh wow, he ripped both CEOs. He has both CEOs currently in play.
Yeah, but right now he doesn't have the soul for it.
No, but like I said, this deck really doesn't need the blind soul charging.
Right.
Like the add 3 up to 3, that's a really stupid part. That is up to 3. So the fact that it's not something that can ever fizzle, the card's almost never dead past turn 2. Exactly. It's really, really powerful.
And considering you have a both grade 1 and a grade 2 version of that.
Yep. It's pretty strong. Another stupidly strong part about this deck is the fact that you can call over a unit to try and fuel the 2nd or 3rd Regalia to put into Soul. It's actually something I ran into Continentals. I had to call it. And I was using the double Dorant Blaster Dark interaction to rule it. Since the ability triggers and then game state has to correct the field, so it still happens. Like, there were so many games. I went to 5 flip damage with Phantom-Abyss, and I would just call out a grade 1 Dorant at rest and then just call over it with a Blaster Dark on flip 2 and have the restand. Like, those plays were really strong.
It's quite a terrifying scenario to think about. I mean, the whole notion is that you're not really wasting counterblast.
No, that's why that's why people have to play the Dark Revenger, like just the normal Revenger, because of the damage recovery. Because there's no on flips are really bad in the game. It's also not a Revenger, so once it gets on field, it's stuck there. It doesn't get you a card to replace it, like Swordbreaker does. And that's really the only reason why Swordbreaker is really played in this deck. And it's too, it draws you an extra card, so it can draw you into another Revenger.
Or another Raging Form if you're playing that build.
Oh yeah, that's... ripping Raging Form on drive checks is so great. It's like the best feeling ever. You feel like the best player in the game.
Is this Jack?
You just feel like you're the best. It's like you're... So... Yeah, that deck's so much fun. Well, this deck is a lot of fun too.
Oh, 2 Swordbreakers.
Robbie's going for the plus plan.
There's this draw engine is just something to just marvel at.
Especially those 2 Soul Blasts fuel the Legion cost, so this deck never really ever has the problem of not having enough in grave. Like, the double Dorant play for me was really good because that Dorant was usually the 3rd or 4th unit I needed for getting the Legion. So yeah, it's definitely, this deck has a lot of good ways to fall back. So it's looking so he has 3 units in drop right now.
Looks like it.
He's gonna waste it.
He has charging trigger, so he's probably gonna use that for the soul. Yep. So giving something +3.
Minerva
he gave
+3.
Was it Minerva or was his booster?
Okay, so looks like he's
deciding.
Yeah.
He's going for the Vanguard. He's gonna try and get that good column and force cards out of Robbie's hand. Especially if he Legions this turn. So far it would be 21, 23, 26. So 31 with that booster. No 1s or higher can enter the guard zone normally.
Are you accounting for Norn? Because when Norn's Soul Blasted, +5 to Vanguard.
Does he have a Norn in Soul though?
Yeah, he wrote it.
Oh, well then. So yeah, oh, wow. Then yeah, that's gonna be... Yeah, that's gonna be... what number did I even say just now?
Was it 31?
31, so he's gonna be 36 base, 2 crit. If he rips a single crit, that he could push him to 6. Yeah, that's a really strong, like, if you look back at Vanguard history, decks that had a guaranteed static 1 crit were just really strong due to the fact you don't have to double crit someone to kill while they're at 3. MLB being...
MLB, exactly.
Like, there's so many games, my friend, just, like, puts me... Like, the fact you get that extra reach, you could kill someone while they're at 2 damage without having to restand was ridiculous.
He's also going to get an extra 5k off Pure Angel.
Yeah. And, oh yeah, he has a Pure Angel too, so that's another +5, so 41...
No P-guard.
41, no P-guard, 2 crit, yeah. That's
quite the terrifying process to think about.
Robbie has a whole bunch of grade.
One of my opponents is sitting right next to me, and he's
but he has a huge
60.
hand.
But how many of those are zeros is a better question as opposed to how many.
I think I saw 4 zeros in his hand, one of them being a draw trigger, so...
He's a guy at least...
And he has no grade 2s,
35-ish?
So, yeah. 2, soul charging 3. So he has that soul.
Lost a crit, now the soul is online.
Boosting with a trigger though. So that's a lot.
Just waiting for the fence right now.
Yeah, that's gonna
he's
be
got about
like
7 cards in soul right now, I think.
Yeah.
7 or 8.
And he's definitely gonna get rid of that Norn in there and the other +5 card there.
Definitely
so
the Norn. There it is.
That's a pure. Was that the stand trigger actually just now?
I don't think so.
Oh, he doesn't run the stand. A lot of people are running it today. That stand is really good. Sometimes it also has a little surprise factor. That one stand can really throw some people off too, especially since
crit power.
Wow.
Double crit off the top.
So that's 4 damage. Robbie has to pull.
Good gracious, that damage.
That's
5, 6.
That
game
so
3.
There's a wild factor.
4 crits. Oh,
there's always that
chills
chance.
seeing those kind of kicks, man.
That's that wild factor though. So let's see. He needs to have
just
a
swing
repeat
for
of
the
this.
fence and then double crit. Just like, man,
Yeah.
you just cross the finish line.
Yeah, no, like CEO, like even though this is supposedly a bad matchup for CEO, but CEO is not to be toyed around with. Like, I played round 3, I think. My opponent got up to around like 60-ish, pretty close to it with 2 crit. I was at 4, he was at 5, so if I didn't get a heal, I would have died right there, but he healed out of 5. So we were even, and I lived, went to 5, but I dumped all of my hand to 1 to pass it, so I had no aggression.
It's really how we're
we just lost audio.
Yeah. I think we just lost audio.
Yeah. Let's wait for a second.
Yeah, we lost audio just now.
Technically you didn't. It's just lost power.
Oh, okay.
You being able to hear yourself without...
Okay. Alright, so we didn't lose audio. There we go. Alright.
Sorry, we're back.
Truth be told, I'm actually really excited about this game 3. It's like, you are actually going to see that because as a D Fleece player, nothing excites me more than watching something hit for more than 2 crits. So I'm always juiced up whenever I see something go 3 to 4 to 5
punch
crits.
Those perfect shields, taking them off. Yeah, no, your deck's gonna get really good with that Legion because you can return all those 3s that you dump early from like perfect shields just to keep yourself alive.
I can run quintet walls in my robos.
You can run quintet walls, Legion back your 3s.
What do you do with that? I'd be like 3, 3, 3, 1, 2.
I'm not putting back triggers. I'm not putting back triggers. I'm putting back 3s. Those are 10k shield punchers.
I remember actually playing Dimension Police once. Break riding Great Ayusha over Daikaiser, getting one of the
triple
go
crit
cannons
to
get him up another crit.
So
my opponent's at 5. He no guards, double crit.
So you hit up to 5
such damage.
6 damage.
The last time I went up to 5 damage, I believe I was playing Rainbow Triggers Tachikaze Ancient Dragons. 3 crit on break ride turn, and then double crit on drive on a 2 to pass. That was a local tournament. I felt really bad because this person literally bought 2 trial decks and smashed them together. And then I kind of just smashed face, so I felt kind of bad, but it's like we're still standing, so it's not like I was going to dump the triggers anyway. So,
yeah.
It was the silly thing about Tachikazes too. Like, this game has a lot of really technical interactions. The Tachikazes can, if they have the right setup, they can have 1 booster for all 3 rows.
Definitely.
It's really funny because that Iguana Gore counterblast 1, call it back.
It never really leaves the field. It just says 7 over here. I'm going to leave. I'm going to come back. Now 7 over there.
Yep. It also lets you correct columns too, which is really stupid.
Definitely.
It doesn't have to be in battle phase. You can call over it and just put it to something better.
What do you think that we're now getting a grade 2 Iguana Gorg?
I think that's what the deck really needed.
That's what
like,
it needed. Definitely what it needed.
One, like, as much as people want to say Legion's overpowered, I actually feel like every deck is getting to the point where it will have its share of the meta. Like, looking at a lot of the Bushy Road releases of the clan breakdowns, you usually see a hefty 40-30% of the clans being one deck.
Definitely.
Like, especially in America, where like, because when you look at a lot of the American card players, you see that they usually go off of what wins. A lot of people overseas tend to go off what they know best, especially in countries. They tend to go off just because they play very differently than a lot of people here do. So it's actually pretty interesting to analyze that from like multiple games perspective.
Robbie's riding that perfect shield first turn.
I feel like he's been riding that quite a bit this match.
Yeah.
When you're playing an aggression deck, you don't want you don't want to keep the perfect shield back. You want to not have to be in the situation to use it. You want to be able to call out that masquerade, have that 10k puncher, and just go for face the second turn if you're going first.
Yeah, that Dorant.
Yeah,
Even.
it's like it's similar to like playing Ripple Rush. You gotta keep you have to have a lot of twos and just constantly re-attack to make up for the fact you don't have Twin Drive a lot of the time.
Yeah. I think I actually faced Ripple Rush today.
Ripple Rush was my last matchup today.
Yeah, and I beat him.
Yeah, he doesn't play heals, and I triple critted him on 3 on game 2.
Jeez.
So yeah, that was rough. He
Riding
never
that
had more than 4.
masquerade.
Oh, there it is.
That
There
Dorant
goes-
aggression.
here comes that-
Ooh.
He called that quintet wall to attack? Huh.
Yeah, Christian likes going even with Vanguard and Rearguard. I personally find it really risky and has to really pick and choose. But so
Riding that grade 2.
is that's the plus 5k one, or is that the pre-release one that lets you retire if it hits?
No, that's the
Alright, so
Yeah.
I know what it does.
is it the counterblast one?
Counterblast 1.
Yeah, counterblast 1 plus.
When you're Vanguard Legion, you can counterblast 1 so charge.
If your Vanguard's in Legion, not when it Legions, I don't think.
When it Legion.
Okay.
Not during Legion, but when
Pass
it
Okay, it's
over.
okay.
gains 5k.
Alright, so it's a counterblast 1 for 5k when you Legion. That's pretty good.
For both of his attacks that turn.
Yeah, he doesn't want to give Robbie that second counterblast because he knows next turn Robbie's going to have all the fuel to restand. And so Robbie's just going to start swinging back at rear guards, make him minus even harder for not going at going as Vanguard.
Yeah.
It's punishing.
Not to mention he has all the requirements go for Judge Bout this turn.
Yep.
And looks like it's hitting.
Oh, that's a draw trigger, so he's going to draw a lot of... Oof.
And the heal, but he doesn't get the Judge Bout off.
Ripping these heals is so strong. But
Yeah, no. In testing with the deck, I actually, both players being at 2, my friend didn't have any reverse units playing Glendios, so I needed to try and go for game. But I healed out of the second damage after the crit to try and kill him, and it was painful.
Oh, and that Minerva ride.
Oh, that's really lackluster, especially for this matchup, because he doesn't really get... did I see another grade 3 in his hand?
I'm not sure, I didn't really see
Yeah,
it.
it was in passing. I see a Kushinada.
Oh, there's a CEO
Yeah,
in
there's
there.
a CEO.
So
Interesting.
just waiting.
I think he's just going to use the Minerva soul fodder at this point then.
Yeah.
So that way Robbie doesn't try not to... So that way he's probably trying to lead Robbie on to not playing around
That
CEO.
15k column though.
That
That 15k column though.
That works.
Yeah. Well, I
Took
think
an
I was
hour
playing
out of
against you at
his
YCS where I got Grey Stuck twice against your D-Robos and I just had 17k columns and I kept winning just off of crits every turn.
Sometimes you got
Let me see a
to.
quintet wall coming off.
Oh boy. Well, there's a Norn in there. That's actually going to be really important. Norn and an Angelica. That Norn's probably going to go right into his soul next turn. So
Probably. So
yeah,
it
so that's
didn't
going to be
hit,
pretty good.
And Blaster Dark can't hit, so...
He's also going to have the 3 soul because he rode the Minerva off when he legions because of the starter. He's going to have around 7 or 8 soul because of that.
Yeah.
Oh, he's choosing not to go CEO this early.
That Norn is probably going to go back in this... Go into Soul. Definitely
So
right
he's
there.
putting Norn, Angelica...
Getting cross ride off.
Okay, so he's trying to go more defensive player this game. So, okay, that's a Chimera.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's one of the ones that called Rearguard, put 3 Regalia from the drop zone to Soul.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good card. I think it's like going for like $6 now because it's like
Jeez.
needed for. It's like a needed 3 to 4 of. Like that controls the amount of control you have over your soul with this deck is really good. Like usually soul based decks always have the problem of I soul charge 2 triggers and now my drive checks are all dry. Like, or I deck out. Like, this deck almost never pulls from the deck, and if it does, it's only like once or twice.
Yeah.
It relies on the drop zone more.
Yeah. A lot of it's with the drop zone.
Yeah, I actually like that. Like this, like the one thing Vanguard didn't have that almost every other card game had was graveyard manipulation.
Robbie killing that starter off.
And the only clan.
So no +3 soul.
Yeah, that's actually rough because he just put a Chimera into soul 2. So if he doesn't have another one, that's going to be really hard to get up to that 6 because he's currently at 4, 5 with a Minerva.
So
Kushi not? Okay, he plays Perfect Shield. That Dark is going to swing for 14 at him.
Perfect Shields, I feel in this game, will never be dead.
I personally feel like that too. You can return them. The only time I think they're actually dead is against Christian's deck. Christian's deck, D-Robos. D-Robos isn't guaranteed though. But like I said, when Legion comes out, you can just put back 3, 4 3s and just...
Definitely.
It's like, I don't need triggers in my deck, I need 3s. Let's do this. So yeah.
Oh, and he's going for that CEO.
Oh yeah, earlier I was joking around that you should have named the D-Robo deck Little Mac since your entire game plan is out. So it's a little, just video games.
Charge up the KO bar.
Yeah, so it's a little Smash Bros reference in there.
Yeah, what was your drive check thing when you did?
Oh my, just a triple drive check and just kind of force
Yeah,
him out.
that's just that triple drive is ridiculous, especially if you have to discard nothing for it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, and it gets hilarious when you have a Laurel that you utilize. Well,
the only problem though is that you can't.
You don't get the triple drive though. You get the double drive.
You don't get the triple drive, and you can't have Laurel. You can't activate. You have to activate the triple drive the first time you swing.
Yeah, so the first time I swing, it's coming triple.
Yeah, so the typical Laurel plays, you're usually swinging at rear guard because people weren't aware. Like, I played that deck when it was only BTO 4, and it was silly with Laurel. Just ride the Dayusha. Play, oh my god, Cosmo Beak. We had a counterblast 2 for that. Oh my god.
I'm glad them days are behind.
Cosmo Beak was like a $10 card, and now you're lucky to get a quarter for it.
Yeah.
Welcome to Vanguard.
I mean,
well, considering Dimensional Robos have the exact same thing in a grade 2 and a grade 1
not
version,
to mention they have those cards that work off Soul too.
And the Soul, yeah.
Yeah, so that Soul blasting sort of things can also fuel their Legion too, which is actually going to be really big when we get that. I'm actually very curious to see which Legion we get first in January, because we got the Mirror. Actually, we might even get another one in December, just because they accidentally shipped out way too early.
Looks like the Genesis player does have 6 cards in Soul. Will he use it now to get the damage in?
Would you? Well,
I would
been
actually
going YOLO almost all game so far. Why not stop here?
I feel like the wild card factor really needs to go all in right now, because
This might be his only shot, because
Is this 3 out of 5 or no?
no, this is
out of 3.
Yeah, so this is his last chance really to do anything, because he has no cards in hand, so he doesn't have just like the 2-card recovery grip to come back for, so he has to do it.
Looks like he did not.
He got no triggers.
fast and absolutely nothing for it.
No.
Looks like he's gonna have to smack a rear guard for his troubles.
One good thing, he's only at 2 damage.
Yeah, so he has probably another 2
time.
turns to try and build up an advantage, but I don't think he's going to be able to do that.
Yeah,
because
especially Robbie.
Instead of the 10k punch.
Even though Robbie doesn't have the 2 counterblasts, he still has that 1 for Judge Bow, so he can still plus and just keep the gap bigger and bigger. So
this Judge Bow's going off this turn. I don't think he has enough cards to guard that.
No, he got 2 non-triggers in hand. He only has 10k, and the Legion swings for 27.
He's gonna have to hit some triggers on these damage
Well,
checks.
he's not Legion.
Or 18. Oh yeah, so it's 18. So
Oh, you hit one.
1 trigger. So he
That's a
might
16.
not get it off, but there's always...
if he doesn't, though, that
going
means...
off.
Oh, let's go. Alright. Even if he didn't get it off, though, here's the thing. He only needs 1 damage then to be able to restand, so...
Definitely.
You really have to pick your poison with this matchup, like...
Yeah.
Which means it becomes a double soul. It's gonna happen. This is gonna happen again.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Robbie's degenerate draw engine. It's just amazing to watch in action.
If you want to see degenerate draw engine, you actually want to watch the Shadow Paladin, which is versus Glendio's. The reverses never stay on field, and you get to draw for every single grade 0 they have. Yeah, the Reyes effect is ridiculous, especially if you Legion. They get -5 for every 0 on rear guard. So you could put their Vanguard at negative power, so 10k guards turn into like awkward numbers like 9 or 4.
Genesis
You have
player
the guard.
re-legend, looks like.
Wow, he ripped the second CEO. That's the only other one he has.
Or he
See,
re-rode. Yeah.
These top decks are so rare.
He's
The
trying to...
problem is, I don't think he has a way to get back the soul he just used.
Well, he just played one of the...
Yeah, he has one, so
but
he
that's
has,
only going to be 5 cards in soul.
Right.
He needs another...
He's gonna be
That
short.
trigger behind him would have needed to be the one holding all the grenades. But that's a Cyber Tiger. It's the
It's a
5K.
Cyber Tiger.
So yeah, I don't know. Like, he has the 3 to return off of Chimera. Like, that we know. But he's putting the Norn back for the power boost. He's putting
The
the...
Minerva and the Angelica in.
Yeah.
But he only has 5 cards in soul. He needs another.
Because he has the 2 from Legion, and he just got the 3 from the Chimera effect.
And is there no other way he can get anything else in the soul right now?
No, I don't think there is. He's out of cards in hand, has all of his cards in play. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
Robbie's counting 4 in hand, 1 left there. Yeah, I don't think he has a way to really get the soul.
You just need one card to really make it.
Yeah, he doesn't have. He's gonna Legion just to try and take cards out of Robbie's hand, but I don't think it's gonna be enough to win this game.
Yeah, no.
Because he's at 4 damage and he's only gonna have 2 cards in hand. Because I'm pretty sure he doesn't run draw triggers.
And what he really needs to do right now is put crits back in the deck, not these grade 2s or 1s.
Put on your card.
Yeah.
So he's looking to go ahead and put triggers back in order to help continue his aggression when he gets this.
That's what
I don't.
That's
but
what
I don't-
my personal... That's what I would personally
Oh, no, I
do.
actually agree with you because he's not going to have the extra 1 crit that could make the difference of him just straight out KOing Robbie, Dimensional
Right.
Police style.
Because even if he gets double crit right now, Robbie
goes to 5.
5, yeah.
It's like,
And
okay.
Robbie has a huge hand to guard
And
the
if Robbie
rear
goes to
guards.
5, that's just free fodder because he can just play.
Look at that hand, though.
Yeah, I noticed that a
How
lot.
much of it is zeros becomes a question, but now it may not matter due to
But
the fact
yeah,
that
it doesn't matter.
He's short 1.
Man,
He needed to have
One
7
card in
cards
soul.
in soul last turn in order to actually get this off, but he only had 6. So, yeah, I don't think the quad 3 deck is probably going to be played by choice.
Yeah.
Like, the wild card factor might have helped him, but it's definitely not right now because that consistency just kind of came to bite him.
Robbie's not guarding. Looks like it.
well, it's only
No
1
trigger.
damage.
No trigger. 1 damage.
That was quite the whiff on the drive track right there.
And
Robbie
I
doesn't
mean-
need to take anything. Or doesn't have
yeah,
to...
because
any-
at this point he could just call over one of the Sword Break Angels with a Doran and then call a Blaster Dark from hand and not care.
Yeah.
Because he'll have the 2. Like I said, this deck has like almost every way to make sure it has 2 Counterblast. Like, it's really strong, and I can see why this deck tops in Japan so much.
Definitely.
Especially with the nerf to Thingsaver Abyss.
Oh, yeah.
Because that deck would just... Oh my god.
That was just so stupid.
Yeah, my
though.
build... the build I run is actually... I run the Thingsaver Abyss ran pretty much 4 Shadow Paladins. It ran 4 Shadow Paladins because since all the Legion era cards aren't clan specific, when your Vanguard performs Legion, you can use that 1 Seeker as long as you counterblast a Seeker, call out the Makart, so then you can just auto or the Darkbond Trumpeter, get a 0 the 1 Shadow Paladin 0 you have in deck, and have the restand 1 turn for the Abyss, and then ride over Thingsaver, and you have the soul enough to have Thingsaver twice after that. So you set up 3 turns of restanding of over 20, like 7, 20, 30, depending on what you have behind your Vanguard. So
Definitely.
yeah.
No, Robbie.
That's horrifying.
Just
I
hitting...
don't know. It's just,
Yeah.
Robbie.
do you guys think that this is dragging on in hindsight? Because right now it feels like literally this is so beyond uphill.
Yeah, this definitely could have been
Oh,
over.
Robbie does not have the counterblast.
It looks like he just didn't have the Dorant column.
So he's not going to be able to restand.
I'm surprised he Legioned this early then, since he doesn't have the counterblast.
But
Perhaps he's thinking that he's just gonna go ahead and hit him now since he has 2 things.
He has a
left, and
heal that
doesn't
didn't go off
The
because he's a
power to
4.
rear guard.
Yeah, so he has a 20. He has a 22 row and a 15 row.
That 15k row is going to...
It doesn't matter. 15k is gonna.
15.
Oh, he has the cider.
But it doesn't matter
Unless
because...
he heals here.
6 damage.
This was not
Robbie
it.
Kohl takes
Consistency definitely came out on top today.
Definitely.
Quite a terrifying scenario to imagine, but even with the
If he
one lead,
lived,
got
that
to
would have
live through
been-
that. It
yeah.
could have probably been the way
Yeah.
to get through those scenario, but since he didn't get a chance to get to that point, it was like literally game over at that point. It just felt like just being one short. It made a lick of a difference. And
Yeah,
and
that
One
wild
card.
card.
pressure.
I think the
One
best way to
card.
describe the wild card factor is cute. Like it won in one game.
Yeah.
It won in one game, but